In a league that worships flash, theatrics, and highlight reels, there was a man who quietly dismantled the NBA without ever raising his voice. Tim Duncan didn't dunk with fury. He didn't yell after a block. He didn't post up on social media. And yet, for nearly 2 decades, he was unstoppable. Some called him boring. The truth, that boring consistency is exactly why he became one of the most feared, respected, and dominant players the league has ever seen. If basketball were a chessboard, Duncan was the grand master moving pieces while everyone else was chasing applause. Boring doesn't mean uninteresting. Here's the irony: Duncan's boring game is exactly why he's fascinating to study. Every move had purpose. Every decision was calculated. Fans and analysts who look beyond the highlight reel see a genius at work. His post moves? Perfectly timed. His pick-and-roll reads? Surgical. His defensive rotations? Flawless. His passing? Often overlooked, but essential to the Spurs' motion offense. Watching Duncan isn't about a single flashy dunk. It's about observing basketball mastery in real time. And for those who love a good stat deep dive, Duncan's consistency is insane. He scored at least 20 points per game in 13 different seasons, recorded 14 seasons with 10-plus rebounds, and never had a season with fewer than 3 blocks per game as a starter. That's dominance without theatrics, the ultimate definition of boring greatness. Legacy beyond the spotlight. Tim Duncan's legacy isn't just rings or stats. It's the culture he built. Players who came after him, from Kawhi Leonard to LaMarcus Aldridge, were molded in his image. The Spurs dynasty was sustained because Duncan never sought the spotlight. He built an environment where winning, teamwork, and fundamentals mattered more than hype. Why being boring was brilliant. The NBA evolved around spectacle, but Duncan thrived by being the anti-spectacle. He forced opponents to play fundamentally perfect basketball just to match him. No flashy tricks, no quick fixes, just execution, intelligence, and resilience. Boring, but unstoppable. Tim Duncan's greatness wasn't measured in flashy highlights, but in results. He won 5 NBA championships, 2 NBA MVP awards, and 3 NBA Finals MVP awards. He was selected 15 times to the All-Star game, and he made 15 All-NBA selections. He finished his career with 26,496 points, 15,091 rebounds, and 3,020 blocks. Every stat tells the same story: consistency. Duncan wasn't the fastest, the flashiest, or the most explosive player, but he was always effective. While other stars relied on athletic feats to wow the crowd, Duncan relied on timing, footwork, and decision-making. He was a master of the bank shot, a defensive nightmare in the post, and a leader who elevated everyone around him. Opposing teams tried to exploit him, but Duncan adapted seamlessly. Need a clutch basket? Duncan quietly delivered. Need a defensive anchor? Duncan was immovable. Need someone to control the pace of the game? Duncan dictated it without ever raising his voice. The rookie who changed everything. In 1997, Duncan was drafted first overall by the San Antonio Spurs, and almost immediately, he made his presence felt. He won Rookie of the Year in a season where he averaged 21.1 points and 11.9 rebounds per game. But here's the thing. While everyone else was chasing highlight dunks or viral plays, Duncan quietly dominated every game without needing a single flash of theatrics. Teammates noticed it right away. David Robinson, the veteran big man, called Duncan the perfect teammate. Popovich, his coach for 25 years, referred to him as the smartest player I've ever coached. And yet, the media often labeled him boring. No trash talk, no attention-seeking celebrations, No gaudy showmanship, just basketball executed flawlessly. That boring style? It was the ultimate advantage. Opponents couldn't predict him because he didn't play to entertain. He played to win. The power of quiet leadership. If Duncan's game was boring, his leadership style was equally understated. Unlike flamboyant personalities like Shaq or LeBron, Duncan led by example. He didn't bark orders or demand the spotlight. He simply performed at the highest level every single night. Popovich, his coach, often emphasized that Duncan was the heart of the Spurs culture. The term Spurs Way, a philosophy of teamwork, discipline, and selflessness, was personified in Duncan. He showed that leadership doesn't need noise. Sometimes consistency and integrity speak louder than words. His quiet approach also created longevity. Duncan played 19 seasons in the NBA, rarely missing games due to injury or off-court distractions. That's not luck. That's preparation, discipline, and focus. And yes, maybe a little boring. The making of the big fundamental. Tim Duncan wasn't born with a circus-style game or jaw-dropping athleticism that could make a highlight reel on every possession. He was born in the U.S. Virgin Islands on April 25, 1976, and grew up playing swimming and volleyball. In fact, Duncan originally wanted to be an Olympic swimmer, a dream cut short when Hurricane Hugo destroyed his local pool. Basketball came later, and it came quietly. By the time he reached Wake Forest University, it was clear Duncan had a rare combination of size, intelligence, and basketball instincts. Standing 6 feet 11 inches with a 7-foot wingspan, Duncan wasn't just tall. He had the ability to read the game like a chess master. Coaches knew from early on that Duncan didn't need flashy moves to dominate. He needed fundamentals, discipline, and an understanding of spacing and timing. Duncan's college years foreshadowed what he would bring to the NBA: calm leadership, defensive intelligence, and near-perfect execution. Unlike other stars of his era, he didn't rely on explosive athleticism or media hype. He relied on preparation, positioning, and consistency. So, what do you think? Was Duncan underrated because he was boring? Or did his consistency make him the most feared player of his generation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you love deep NBA breakdowns, player legacies, and untold stories of basketball greatness, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because the next legend we explore might just change how you see the game forever.